Joe, just start from the beginning, man.
Hello.
I mean, could you describe the chaos of how this fight came together to begin with? Because it seems like, you know, you were matched up with Davison, and then you were a backup, and then you got this. I mean, can you just walk us through how that all happened?
Oh yeah, I'm glad you asked, because I think a lot of people just thought I was an alternate, then fighting Ortiz and wondering what happened with Figueiredo and all this. But so it is nice to explain, because it was really like a chaotic like roller coaster, and I can get into detail with you guys. But 2 days after my fight with Perez, literally 2 days after, they called me and asked me if I want to fight Figueiredo in Anaheim, / kind of be a backup, you know, in case something happens. But if not, have a great fight with the up-and-comer, you know, hopefully like the next title shot. That fight got scratched in Anaheim, and they moved us to Brooklyn, which was a week before. And Figueiredo had issues with that. I don't know, preparation, probably weight cut stuff. You know, it's a week. You know, if you can't make weight in 6 weeks and you're a top 5 and then in the world, you know, it looks kind of bad. But funny thing about that I can get into detail with you guys is he actually changed his mind 3 times within an hour. So I was in one workout, and they called me and said, Figueiredo doesn't want to fight because it's a week earlier, but you're going to be a backup. I was just like, oh, that's super motivating right now in my workout, you know? But I'm just like, whatever. And then literally 15 minutes later, they call. He's like, no, never mind, he's on. He just, you know, he thought it would be bad, but it's a good opportunity, so he's back on. I'm like, that's amazing. I was like, great, motivated again. And then literally by the end of my workout, I got another call that he was out. And I was like, you can't make this stuff up. So I'm talking to people about my fight, but like, it's changing the story every time. I'm just like, they're like, oh, so Figueiredo? I'd be like, what did I tell you last? Because like people walking in and out of the gym, it was crazy. Literally 3 times in one workout. So people coming like from lunch and back, I had to like tell them, oh, it's off now. And they're like, what? But then they walk back to like get a medicine ball. I'm like, it's on. So it was crazy. And that took the fight to me just being an alternate. They're like, listen, we still want you to be an alternate. And I don't know if you guys know how that works, but you know, you make weight, you train for a title fight, which is the hard part, you know, against 2 freaks like TJ or Cejudo. And it's kind of just like, all right, me and my coaches go through all this, but we don't necessarily, you know, get what happens like if our opponent doesn't show up. We're just kind of there. But at the same time, you know, I think they know, you know, like a fighter's mindset at that point. It's like, you know what, we're not going to miss out on an opportunity. Like these are offered in really big occasions. So it's like, I'm not going to be sitting on the couch and be like, oh, damn it, that fight fell through. I could have been there. So I'm like, I don't care. I'll just eat shit for this one. I'll get better for 5 weeks or whatever it may be. And, you know, if the fight happens, it doesn't. If not, I got better. I was ready for the opportunity. And then through that, I was just always pushing. I was like, I would still love a fight, obviously. Like, that would be ideal. So I still pushed for it. And I was like, look, Wilson Hayes and Pantoja both called me out. There's fights there. Let's, like, keep this thing going. And they're like, you know what? We'll see what we can do. And then I don't know if they went through those guys. I didn't really get word on them. I mean, I assumed them because they called me out. But I got all the way to Dustin Ortiz, who I already fought. And I love the fight. Fought him 4 years ago. And it was one of those fights where I was done. I was like, you know what, I could have, you know, improved on some little things there, and now I get the chance to. So it's a good fight. He's improved as well, so that's always fun.
I want to ask you about that backup situation. That's kind of a newer thing. I mean, and it seems like kind of a good thing for fighters, but kind of, I mean, it's a great thing for the UFC, right?
Yeah.
It's a great thing for business. But can you talk about, I guess, you kind of mentioned the difficulty of putting yourself in that position, why that's such a hard position for fighters to be in? Because on some hand, I could see fans saying, bro, you get paid to train. Like, how easy is that?
Yeah.
You don't even have to fight. So help explain why maybe people aren't looking at it the right way.
Yeah. Like I said, it's a really good opportunity. The preparation is the hardest part no matter what. Like, I would fight every day if I could because I'm doing it anyway, you know? I'm not like waking up early and dieting and like fighting guys for fun. I'm fighting guys to be ready to fight. You know, that's why, like, you know, take the fight back to back if you're healthy, because you're fighting dudes anyway. You're training anyway. So that's the hard part, you know, but it's a lot of like time, coaches' time, you know, just sacrifice in every like part of life, you know, especially like the time span. So, and then as far as What was the other question? Like kind of
Why
like
it's a difficult spot for you to be in, because I guess financially it's tough and.
Yeah, it's different. I mean, and most of the guys getting offered this, have pretty high show money, and it's not a fight. And I understand, like, they're not going to pay someone like their show money to do nothing or not fight and everything. So it's kind of hard, I'd like it to be looked at as like, hey, what would happen if, you were preparing for a title fight and you got there and it fell off? You'd probably get your show money, at least. But being an alternate, you don't really get that option, But at the same time, like you said, you're getting paid to train. You're getting better anyway. At the end of the day, you have an opportunity and you didn't really train for nothing where maybe you would have been. But training, every day for fun and, just open-minded, getting better, and training for a title fight's a little different. There's a lot of people involved, coaches, family, everything. So a lot more goes into it. But like I said, I think the opportunity is the biggest part, and they know that and that they're offering, and it's really hard to turn down either way.
How much have you thought about Cejudo and Dillashaw during this camp? I mean, have you been considering, because I got to assume you're still the backup, right? And I mean, both those guys have had, one guy's never made the weight, the other guy has missed. So I mean, are you still feeling in your mind like there is a chance I'm fighting for a title in Brooklyn?
Yeah. You know what? I always think that on the back of my mind, but at the end of the day, it's kind of just be ready for any situation. So, like even in sparring, I'll just spar with everybody, and just because it's like, I could be fighting anybody. I kind of like thrive there in like chaos anyway. The good thing about these three guys that I have options of is I fought Ortiz before, I fought Cejudo before, and I've trained with TJ maybe more rounds than I have with anyone like in my lifetime. So it's one of those things where I can actually concentrate on myself. And the actual the sessions when I didn't have an opponent were actually really cool, because you probably hear guys all the time, well, I'm not worried about what they're doing, I'm just worried about me getting better. And I've said that, and I think people say that, but it's literally impossible to do. If you have an opponent in front of you, you have to think about him. But it feels so good. You always spar and compete better when you're not worried about something. Like if you're just open-minded and can do anything, you can't mess up because you don't have a plan or a game plan or something. So the first few sessions I had without an opponent, they were so fun because there was no hey, you have to do this. Well, when he does this, do that. It was just so good. And I was like, oh, this is what people actually talk about that they want to feel, is just concentrating on themselves and their skill, becoming the best them. But then, you get a fight and you always have to alter stuff no matter what. I mean, you can think about yourself a little more, but your coaches and everyone is always going to have your opponent in mind. So going through camp, I try not to think too hard about it all. I mean, I think the highest percentage of things happening are going as planned, right? So I look at that. Most of my thoughts go into Cejudo and TJ fighting and me and Ortiz fighting, because I think that's probably the highest percentage. And then, sometimes when I'm sparring or get past a certain point, maybe fourth or fifth round of sparring, I can start thinking about those guys, when I'm doing the extra work and stuff. But like I said, it's one of those things where, fought Cejudo before, fought TJ, trained with them many times, and I really don't know how that's going to work either, because this is another thing I thought about and we've kind of talked about, and we're kind of going to get it when it gets there. But I'm the alternate for a title fight, and there is a chance Cejudo falls out, and then it's is me and TJ a title fight? No one's really got to that until it actually happens. So, at the end of the day, I give people the benefit of the doubt, and both guys are professional. Both are world champions, so I don't think they're going to go out and really mess this up. So, yeah, I just think about fighting Ortiz for the most part.
Is there a cutoff time for when you'd be willing to do it? Because we've seen things day of, right? I mean, you think about Walt Harris and Verdum or things. I mean, we've had changes the day of a fight. So, I mean, is there a cutoff date where you'd say, on Friday morning, yes, I'll take a world title fight. On Friday night, I won't. Or Saturday morning, I won't. I mean, could you be driving to the arena and they say, bro, you're not going to believe this, but he just got ruled out. We need you to step into a world title fight.
Yeah, in New York, there's nothing you never know. The girl had chapped lips and they told her the day of. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a time limit, because that's what I came in for. So I was assuming if it did happen, it would be a weight thing. So that would be only a day notice anyway. Like, I don't think anyone's going to fall out a week before or anything. So I was assuming if it was going to be something, I would know on Friday anyway. So I think that's just the different thing is, you know, obviously people think TJ's never made it, so it'd obviously be him and me and Cejudo going for the flyweight title. But, you know, say Cejudo, for some reason, something weird happens and, like, is that an interim title fight or we main event, like something like that? That's some stuff I don't know yet, so we'd have to see kind of where that goes, and maybe it becomes a whole nother deal, you know, with a fight with a bantamweight champion for this or that. So.
Do you know that if does one of them have to get pulled from the fight for you to be an alternate, or do they just have to miss weight? Because if they miss weight by a pound, they might still just have the fight where only one can be the champion.
I think, I don't really know. I honestly think, I don't know. I haven't heard. I know some guys said, like, hey, like I think Cejudo's manager was saying if TJ misses by 0.1, then it's not a title fight, so we're not going to fight him, basically. So I don't know how that would go. I mean, at that point, I mean, we'll see. Maybe they'll talk him into something and keep it in that main event, because I don't really know. Because then at that point, he can't lose his belt, I guess, and he could fight. But then he might as well defend it, which he could lose it there.
I think he said specifically that he'd fight you.
Yeah,
if he said, right?
Yeah,
they said
I thought
TJ misses by
anything.
Cejudo wants you.
Because then it's not a title fight, right?
Right.
It would just be a 5-round main event, maybe. Yeah. So I haven't really, you know, I like heard that. See, I was even wrong on it. I saw just something that said, you know, oh, you know, if he misses, we're fighting him. So yeah, I'll be ready for whatever. That's kind of just what I'm taking into this.
Have you seen the TJ social media posts that everybody's talking about?
No.
Everybody's saying that he's looking a little gaunt already and looking a little rough. And
oh, I saw him looking super vascular and skinny, like he's like on 35 weight already, basically. Yeah, I mean, when you're going down to another weight class and that's a high percentage of your body fat, that's going to happen. Guys are going to look freaking weird.
So it didn't concern you or make you feel confident? Did it inspire you one way or the other to think, yeah, he looks good, or no, he looks terrible?
I didn't really pay attention to it. I just kind of like saw him and I like was like, damn, he's really getting there. And you know, the thing with TJ is he's super like, weight cutting is like performance and fighting, everything is one thing, because you never know you're going to feel at a weight or whatever. But weight cutting, you can make the weight. Anyone can make a weight. Like, that's all about just like discipline and hard work. You're going to sacrifice some stuff along the way, whether it be strength, actual training, actual this, whatever. But like, I think guys can make weights. It's just what are they sacrificing to get there? Like, you know, if you were a diet professional or a freaking actor or something, like Christian Bell weighed like 119 pounds or something for a roll, but he's also not fighting another guy, you know. So making weight is kind of just one thing. So I don't really look at it too much. I'm just like, oh, like he's definitely gonna make it because TJ's a psycho, and he's one of the hardest workers I know, and it's like that's what it kind of comes down to when you're cutting weight. So he'll make it. It's just gonna be interesting to see kind of, you know, what did he sacrifice getting there? Because Cejudo is going to feel like he always does, probably better.
There was a lot of passion speeches that you had in your last fight about keeping the flyweight division around. Now that you have the new platform with the ESPN Plus card and there's a couple flyweight bouts on it, do you feel a lot of pressure to try to really perform and make people realize that this division is important and to keep it around?
Not pressure, just excitement, because I mean, this is something I've done like my whole career. I was the first ever, you know, flyweight title fight. You know, I'm the longest now like fighter in the division. You know, I started the whole thing. So I always felt that in a way, because it was never, I'd say, like welcomed as much as big guys, period. Like there was never like we're on the chopping block and this and that, but there was always something, you know, because we were the new division and everything. So yeah, I mean, I think I've always fought with that in mind, just, you know, but also, I mean, it's individual, but I would look at other guys' fights and, you know, I would root for flyweights getting bonuses of the night and looking good and, you know, looking scary and putting on good fights all the time. So it's really nothing new. I mean, it has elevated with like a little bit more talk, but that's something that I fight my balls off either way. So no matter what it is. So that's just how it is. But it's always been kind of like, since the start, I've always thought like, hey, we need to prove we're the best skilled division there is.
Has there been any talk about keeping that division around, or
not anymore? I
keeping
feel like it
around?
really stopped.
Yeah.
Because there is a title fight, and they are making other fights. I don't know if they're signing guys. I haven't heard, but I know some fights are being made, like new fights. I think there's even some after the title fight that are scheduled. So I don't think they're looking at as the last thing. So, you never know when what happens in the fight, what they're gonna do. But right now it's business as usual. I got a fight on the same card as the title fight, and that's really all there is. I haven't really heard any talk other than that.
Just can you talk about Dustin? I mean, you guys fought, like you said, 4 years ago, but I know you're a student of the game. You watch everything. So is there value to that fight that you guys had, or have you seen his game progress in such a way that you feel like you're fighting a new opponent? I mean, how much does that help going in?
Yeah, I watched that back, and I watch myself a lot in it because he's going to watch that. So we have to watch, like, what is he going to think that I'm going to do? Where is he going to try to improve from last time? But the good thing is, like, I'm a different fighter, and so is he. And I've seen some of his last fights. He's gone through some changes technically. Like, I think people go through changes professionally, but they really just kind of, like, elevate their game. Like, you wouldn't know I was training really anywhere else. My fight style stays pretty similar, But I feel he actually, like, switched up a lot of his game, period. Like, you used to look at Ortiz and think of just, like, dude, bulls forward, really awkward, clinches you, and you're in danger. And now he really fights, really different, training mainly at, like, a kickboxing camp. So he's improved there, but does that mean, by improving there, like we were talking about earlier, did some of his other game get sacrificed? So, you got to look at that, got to think about how, he lost the last fight and what he's going to try to do this time, and then just be a step ahead. Again, of him with experience.
Joe, I would think one way to kind of gauge the status of the division.
Look here. Hi.
Yeah,
It's cool. It's cool.
Did they say something?
It says "look here"
Look
on your
here.
photo.
Oh, that's for you. I put that there right before this.
That's for your selfies.
I would
There's a
think
password and everything.
Yeah, maybe
Okay.
I should cover that.
All right, go ahead.
Is there? I would think a good way to gauge the status of the division is just what they're doing with contracts. So they let some guys
Yeah.
go. What about your contract? Like, is there been any talk of?
I just signed a new 4-fight deal.
Oh, you did.
Yeah. So I think that's another good sign. I didn't even know guys were getting cut until I saw them fighting in Risen or whatever. And I was like, how'd those guys get cut? Because I feel those things are always announced, so I heard it kind of stop. But, the way that I just gauge it is like, look, there's a flyweight title fight. Like, one of the best pound for pound guys is coming down to our weight to fight. We have a new champion. It's, headlining the first card ever with ESPN. So, that's how I gauge it right now. I'm fighting on it. There's other fights being signed. So I just look at it like that, and then, kind of after the fight, look at it again and see, oh, well, what happened in this fight? What are they going to do now? Because other than that, I mean, I haven't heard anything. Everything, like, really chilled out, I think, once they got that fight, because now it's steady and they know just like, well, we can't really do anything to division until after this fight with TJ and Cejudo. So yeah, like I said, I just business as usual until, you hear otherwise is kind of how I look at it.
And when you were discussing that contract that you just signed, like, did they even bring up, like, hey, if we do get rid of 125, would you want to fight at 135? Like, did they even ask you that?
Didn't bring it up. No, nothing like that. 4-fight deal at 25 because, no, they didn't say anything, because that would have probably just added more, just more questions and back and forth to the contract. So like I said, I think it's just business as usual until something else, like new 4-fight deal. There was never like, oh, well, if this happens though, or me and my manager weren't like, what if this happens? We're just moving forward how it is.
So assuming you fight Dustin, everything goes as planned. What are the stakes of this fight to you? Because we're looking at things like, could you slide into a title fight?
Yeah.
We're looking at things, are you battling for the future of the flyweight division? And you seem to feel confident in that. So maybe the things we're focusing on, you're not focusing on. So what are the stakes of this fight to you?
I just can, I guess. Like, you know, they're always there, but you just kind of focus on what's in front of you, and you deal with things as they come. Like, anyway, you know, right now I have a fight, so why would I think about, this is my last fight, or at the division, or what's going to happen here? It's like you just think of what's in front of you, and then you move on to the next one, you know, win or lose, and you just take things like that. In this sport, I mean, you guys know, with news and fights and everything. So yeah, with that being said, the stakes are, you know, really, like, if I'm already an alternate, you know, and I have a win over the champion, then, you know, I look at it as like I win this fight, and, you know, we go for the title, because I could be going for the title that night. So all I really have to do is win and wait for whoever wins that fight. I think the chances go to Cejudo, it being his weight class. Like, if it was going up to 35, I think, you know, it would definitely be TJ. That's his weight class. You know, they're going, someone's going up, but like, it's a normal thing for Cejudo. This is what he does. He's the champion at 125. TJ's making his first ever, like, cut. There's things go into that. Like, you lose strength, you know, you lose speed just going down a weight class. TJ's technical abilities are incredible, but I don't know. I mean, you can obviously win. I don't think there's an advantage. I just think it kind of slides towards the guy whose weight class it's at, especially if another guy's coming down.
If the weight class was out of it and it's just skill versus skill, who would win?
Well, I think TJ's like one of the most impressive fighters that we have, period. You know, some of the best stand-up that there is, wrestling ground. So, you know, I think he has one of the most rounded skill sets, period. So skill-wise, yeah, I definitely think TJ.
Having fought Henry and then being obviously familiar with TJ, is TJ that much bigger than him?
Cejudo's pretty big. Cejudo's thick and strong. He's a freaking brick. Giant back, you know, big head. Like, he's just, where like TJ's lean, but he's obviously bigger. Like, he's a little taller, and he has mass to him. Like, TJ's not a skinny guy. You know what I mean? Like, he has big legs, everything. So it's hard to say. TJ's definitely the bigger guy. You know, I think that's why he's fought the majority of his career at a weight class above. But Cejudo's big when you get in there. For a 25er, he's big. And TJ, at the end of the day, like, even if you look at the two side by side on an off day and one looks bigger than the other, like, TJ's losing 10 pounds of that to get there. You know what I mean? Like, he might put it back on, but it's not going to be the same as you know, like, him just weighing in at that. Like, he's still losing something to get there and putting it back on. So it'd be interesting to see, like, what they are the night of the fight and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, TJ's going to become a 10, you know, pound smaller version of himself, and they're already, you know, pretty similar in size.
You know, the politics are big in this sport. I mean, we just went over so many things, and you're really flexible in your thoughts. You kind of roll with the way things are. Do you think you've gotten more mellow, matured more? Would you have been like this when you first started looking at it?
Yeah, I think so. I just feel, yeah, like, there's no right or wrong, you know, like, just being here is kind of, I don't know. I think as you get older and experience, like, and you deal with more things, you realize just not to really, you know, take everything so serious, I guess. So it just comes with life and experience. Anyone that gets older, you know, like, when you're freaking 20, like, this something might be the most, like, important thing in your life, and then you get older and you're like, that didn't even, like, matter. I'm like, it just, you know, nothing matters. Like, bigger things start to matter. So I think that's where I've gotten really in my life. And, like, fighting still, you know, like, my whole life and everything, but it's just easy to roll with the punches, you know, when you have, like, an actual another life. So I think that's it. Yeah.
What did you make of Chad Mendez's retirement, being that he's a former teammate?
Is he retiring?
I heard that he did after his last fight, that he
Really?
hit the
He has
damn.
yet to confirm it.
I thought he
And
just
his
said
manager
he's
seems
like-
not answered.
I thought he just said he had some things to work on and he's gonna be back to it. And then I saw that too, but
Yeah.
you never really know. That would be really weird. He's good. So that was a good fight. It was fun. Not fun to watch because I love Chad, but it was exciting.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Joe.
Not good?
Good, yeah.
Thanks, guys.